Get ready to embark on an economic journey as we unveil the heartbeats of the Rwandan business landscapes. This is the Business Age, your front row seat to the economic renaissance of the land of 1,000 hills. Join us as we traverse the bustling markets of Kigali, delve into the success stories of Rwandan entrepreneurs, and explore the dynamic forces shaping the nation's economy. From the boardrooms to the street vendors, we'll bring you the voices of the visionaries and the minds behind Rwanda's economic evolution. Discover the fusion of tradition and technology, witness the agricultural innovations transforming rural communities, and explore the cutting-edge innovations propelling Rwanda into a new era of economic prosperity. From the city lights to the rural landscapes, every business is a story waiting to be told. Hello there. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Business Age. On today's edition, we focus on Rwanda's development agenda as it has been highlighted in the country's Vision 2050. What is being done to attract investments into the country? What is being done to attract businesses into the country or even grow the manufacturing and financial sector? Well, stay tuned and you'll be able to find out more. You will be with me, Naringwa Fiona Motoni. Rwanda's Vision 2050 is an ambitious plan outlining the country's aspirations for the next 3 decades. We start by understanding the key focus areas.
2020, building on the success of Vision 2020, Rwanda embarked on Vision 2050, aiming at transforming Rwanda into an upper middle-income country by 2035 and a high-income country by 2050. The pillars of Vision 2050 are human development, competitiveness and integration, agriculture for wealth creation, urbanization and agglomeration, and accountable and capable state institutions. Our long-term growth trajectory was disrupted by COVID-19 in 2020, but since 2021, the recovery has been strong, with a growth of 10.9% in 2021, 8.2% in 2022, and an average of 7.7% in the first 3 quarters of 2023, January to September. Rwanda operates an open visa regime, and visitors from any country in the world can travel to Rwanda and get visa on arrival. In addition, visitors from Commonwealth countries can get visa on arrival, free of charge. Rwanda is increasingly becoming a regional hub in many areas, including logistics, financial services, information technologies, and innovations, as well as a major destination for international conferences and events.
International collaboration is essential for Rwanda's long-term development objectives, and moreover, Rwanda has implemented several strategic initiatives to create a conducive environment for investors.
Over the last decade, bilateral trade in goods between the UK and Rwanda increased 5-fold, although from a very low base, to around $52 million. UK exports to Rwanda are mainly machinery and pharmaceuticals, while Rwanda's exports to UK are mainly coffee and tea. There are enormous opportunities for growth. Registered investments in Rwanda from the UK over the same period amount to over $600 million. UK became the first destination of our national carrier Rwanda'S in Europe, which has contributed to connect our 2 countries in terms of trade, investment, and tourism.
The two governments have done a fantastic job in highlighting sectors of focus. We've seen agriculture coming out very strongly on how the sector can be made to be more productive in the way things are currently being done. We've seen mining coming out really strongly, manufacturing, and best of all, the financial services, which is where I come in. So as our expectation as the financial sector is really to be able to connect with players from the UK to identify ways in which we can tap into international financing. Access to financing is one of our core mandates as BPR and as the financial sector in Rwanda. And so we'll be able to do much more than we're currently doing by getting into partnerships. The untapped market in agriculture, we've seen logistics taking its place in supporting agriculture growth. Rwanda is currently exporting quite a bit, and we saw that the trade between Rwanda and the UK has increased from $25 million in 2017 to about $51 million in 2022. I mean, when you look at the potential of the two countries, that's only scratching the surface. And there's lots of opportunities in agriculture, I did mention. There's lots of opportunities in the financial sector. The UK is currently supporting the Kigali international financial sector in positioning Rwanda as a financial sector hub. And I believe there's a lot of opportunities there, not just for KIFC, but also for the entire financial ecosystem. There's a lot of opportunities in the mining space. The government of Rwanda has come out very clearly with a mining sector strategy that's currently being implemented. A lot of that strategy, for the strategy to be delivered, there's need to attract investments, international investments to grow the sector. So mining is also very interesting. Rwanda has historically been disadvantaged or seen to be disadvantaged because of its landlocked nature. But when you look at the predictability, the business environment, the competitive workforce, the affordable labor force, it gives a compelling case. Rwanda builds a compelling case for us to attract manufacturing as well. So manufacturing is also another interesting space. The other one I would say would be around green financing. There's a lot of talk on green financing.
Industrialization and human resource development are part of the government of Rwanda's strategy for achieving the Vision 2050.
From the three broad contributors to economic growth or to GDP in Rwanda, we have the services sector, and then the industrial, where the manufacturing is falling, and then agriculture. If you look at last numbers in Q3 2023, this industrial sector, which includes manufacturing, recorded the highest growth. One, mining, and mining really, there were a lot of exports from the mining sector, grew by a large percentage. Also, the manufacturing sector picked up a bit more in quarter 3 2023. We expect that this is going to be sustained coming into this year. One of the challenges was also global inflation, with global prices also being on the higher end, because we're getting, especially for manufacturers who have to bring in a lot of their equipment, they have to bring in inputs that they are importing at high prices. This also impacted them and also impacted margins, because even looking at some of the listed companies in the manufacturing sector, like Bralirwa, margins were squeezed, given that there was a lot of imported inflation on their numbers. There was also produce prices were high, but we expect that inflation globally and locally, as it cools down, then we are going to see them even make better margins.
Packaging serves as a backbone that interconnects various facets of the manufacturing sector, exerting a profound influence on product quality, market competitiveness, and economic prosperity.
In Rwanda, I may say that according to different sources of trade in Rwanda, basically I'll base myself on the Rwanda packaging strategy. Currently, Rwanda is having some of the packaging that are being produced here locally, but mostly like 50% of it being corrugated boxes, also carry bags, the paper carry bags, and also woven sacks. So mostly of the like 90% of the packaging that are being produced here, they are in that three categories. But also other kind of now, if I may say, more advanced and more designed and more sophisticated packaging, they are being imported. So like if you check through the importation statistic, Rwanda imports like even those which I mentioned are produced in here, they are still being imported at some extent. So the status of packaging in Rwanda, I may say it's quite very down, depending on what? Depending on the availability, on the cost, and also depending on the knowledge and the skills. So if I may elaborate a little bit. For example, in Rwanda, if you call any company, manufacturing company, food manufacturing company, and you ask them, who is your packaging manager? Who is, for example, your packaging analyst? Who is your packaging designer? You will find mostly none. It means at the education level, at the skills level, there is still a hinder of that of packaging status. When we come to the pricing, we still have challenges that most of the packagings are imported. And now that increases the prices of the packaging rather than being produced here. For example, we have a tax on 52% when you bring in flexible packaging to Rwanda. So if, for example, you are selling, let's say, 1 kg of maize flour at 2,000 Rwandan francs, the packaging itself will cost you almost 1,000. So you understand that there is a challenge also in pricing part. Also the availability, because you have to take so long time in discussing with your producer, all those handles, the shipping costs, and all that. So there is a challenge in there. So there is another also status, which I may say, the kind of standardization. You know, we have in packaging the standards that are some that stops, for example, plastic carry bag, single-use bag, but which are conflicting with non-availability of other materials. So you ban one material, but still there is no other material. So there is no a shift. So, and there is no, let's say, a joint understanding between regulation bodies and policy makers now to say, okay, if there is no availability of sustainable materials, what else can we do? And that's, I may say, that's the status so far.
By recognizing the value of packaging beyond its functional role, stakeholders across the manufacturing ecosystem can harness its transformative potential to fuel sustainable development and prosperity for generations to come.
I may say there is a huge opportunities in packaging. So let me start from here. One, we see that we don't have the skills, okay? So we have the opportunities that people in the education, people in skills development bodies, they may grab this as an opportunity. So to train, to give those information, those skills to the manufacturing factories or industries. So which I may encourage even manufacturers, even producers to reach out to the people in the place with the packaging knowledge so that they may advise them for the way forward on the shift from unsustainable material to sustainable material. So another opportunity is that, as you may say, as I said, we are importing most of our packaging, even our packaging materials. So there is an opportunity, huge opportunity of the market. So the market is still untapped when it comes to producing those sustainable packagings in Rwanda. I give you an example. We have zero manufacturing of aluminium-based packagings. And you know aluminium is one of the sustainable material because it's recyclable, it's reusable, and it's repurposed. So if you have, for example, an aluminium can, you can recycle it, you can reuse it, you can repurpose it. So that's one example. Another example is about the glass bottles or glass packagings. So all of that, there are untapped opportunities like paper boxes, paper cups, and all that. They are still, some are produced here, but not in a very good advanced opportunities that are in place. For example, flexo printing, they are not available. You may find a paper cup or a coffee cups right now, which is like not branded. And you wonder why. For example, you have a big brand, but they are using just standard cups. But you ask a question, is it really because it's not available, or it's just because this company doesn't want to brand this cup? No, the company needs to brand their cups, but the availability of that technology in place is not available. And the skills and the resources, they are not available. So that's why I call on every person, investors, like policymakers, to come together, to find how we can have people producing them here, because the market is available. If you understand what I'm saying, the market is available because all of those who are importing it at the higher price, yes, the market is available. So the data are available, the information are available. So we are looking for now investment to make it possible.
As Rwanda embarks on its journey towards a sustainable and resilient future, the banking sector's embrace of green financing emerges as a strategic imperative. Rwanda's banking sector has the potential to become a driving force for green transformation, unlocking new opportunities for sustainable development and leaving a positive legacy.
The sustainability-linked bond that was floated last year, if we, even looking at and borrowing even from our regional neighbors, if you look at Tanzania, NMB Bank was able to issue a green bond. We expect that these are developments that should also be should be trickling down to Rwanda. In terms of how they can angle themselves, I think there's been a huge push in terms of alternative financing, where you're looking at you're basically using your capital markets effectively and efficiently. If you look at, for example, in the Rwandan situation, we only have 2 listed corporate bonds. I think that's an avenue that even banks here can readily use. It's readily available, tap more into our capital markets. One of the conversations that we have with with our counterparts in the market regionally is, in Rwanda we don't have much or diversity to look into. So if, for example, we have more sustainability-linked bonds, we have more green bonds in our corporate bond market, grow it from the current 2 and have other players, then that will be a huge net positive, because you're even looking at flows from a lot of foreign flows, which will help even stabilize our currency, for example, because we are now having more being done on this side. And I think that's actually a very important avenue to focus on this year, using the capital markets to grow the capital markets and also tapping into the resources that are currently there.
I believe there's so much more that we can do. Something that we have pondered on as BPR. I did not say, but BPR is part of the KCB Group. KCB Group has actually been awarded as the most sustainable bank in Kenya and in the region. And that's something that we want to leverage on as BPR Rwanda. But I would say that for you to be able to really succeed in any initiative, the most important thing is that you figure out your strategy, for starters. So as BPR, we're going through the process of developing our strategy to say, you know, there's so much talk about green financing, but what does it truly mean for us? What does it mean for the sectors where we have actively participated? We've actively supported agriculture. What does greening the agriculture sector really mean? What does greening the manufacturing sector truly mean for the customers? And we're going out there and talking to our customers, but also bringing on board experience from people that have done it before. So we're currently partnering with EIB to just develop our strategy on green financing. But secondly, and also equally important, is how do we position ourselves as a green bank? There's a lot of things that you can do to, you know, targeted towards the ESG as a bank that we're currently, you know, putting together and just having very specific targets on from where we are to where we want to go. What is it that we will do to, you know, position ourselves as a green bank? So there's a lot that can be done, and all that is going to be put together and then just go forward and in the next 3 years implement our green financing strategy.
Our banks are very much looking into it. Not only the development bank, but all of our commercial banks are looking into it. There's some work ongoing around the green taxonomy. How do we define a green project? As a central bank, we are part of this discussion, but it's led by the Ministry of Finance. There's a Reme Invest Fund that's now established within BRD, and that has already received financing. So basically, the financing is already there. Projects have been identified. So it's a matter of the private sector picking interest in it, looking at the requirements behind, and developing projects that can attract this financing, because the financing has started to come. So I believe the problem is not our banks or development bank or country tapping into it. We have already done it. I think it's more now to the private sector to actually realize that there are opportunities there, and therefore develop projects that are eligible to get access to this fund.
Growing the packaging sector requires collaboration and key investments to ensure that its growth is sustainable.
Like someone who have been doing this packaging business plan, for example, in our initial packaging business that we said, we are looking for $200,000 to basically put together machinery, staff, and technology to make it possible, for example, to build a single stop shop for paper cups, lunch boxes, and gift boxes, all together, but with other kind of packaging that are sustainable. We intend to use, for example, paper, but based on biomass-based packaging materials. So we need to use that. We need to bring machines in place where you can come to our factory, to our site. You tell us, for example, I have this brand A, and I want this brand to be, let's say, red, okay? And for it being red, I need all the information of my brand to be available on this cup. And we can make it there on the place at the cheaper price and available on time, and we can serve all the Rwandans. So we are looking for an investment that is not too much and not too less, but other kind of investment, for example, in aluminium based packaging, they need much investment. For example, in glass. Let me tell you even one fun fact. In Rwanda, actually, there is availability of raw materials to make glass. Yes, there are enormous availability of raw materials. So it means the person who want to invest in that sector, they just need to bring in the technology and the machinery available. Okay, let me take you in a journey of a product development. In food when you are developing a product, you first identify what that product is. Okay, so you know which product, for example, you are looking for. For example, let me take, for example, milk. Okay, you have milk, and you say that my product will be milk, but which milk are you talking about? For example, you are talking about fermented milk or yogurt. That's a milk-based product. So it means the next step, after finding the product, you are going to ask yourself a question. So which things, which material how will I sell this product? So the package comes in automatically. So you are starting thinking now, will I use the bottle? Will I use the gallon? Will I use the paper? So you start to identify which material or how are you going to transport your good? So packaging actually is safety, transport, and also marketing, because everything that represents your company, your brand, at this customer level, it's on the packaging. So it means economically, it's the source of income, it's the source of job, it's a source of also the brand and the selling itself, because the client's first insight is the packaging. For example, if I'm going to buy a coffee, okay? In 3 or 5 coffee bags that I'm seeing, the one that stands out is the one which is well packed. So why is that? Because the customer impression in the quality of the product is on the packaging. So that's why I say everyone, even though we have people who are not yet able to identify who is the best person to design my product packaging, who is the best person to actually advise me on which material I should use depending on the product I'm producing. But I think we'll get there when people now starting to wake up and say, not everyone can do the packaging, but I'm going to a specific people to do a design for me, even though they can't produce it. They can just advise me on a packaging.
Despite the global headwinds, the banking sector has grown over the years and proved to be resilient.
The financial sector in Rwanda has done phenomenal in 2023. When you look at the 2023 Q3 figures, you can see very healthy growth, above 25% growth for the financial sector, banking sector, because the financial sector is a lot broader.
Yeah.
So the banking sector has grown phenomenally in 2023. Definitely there have been headwinds. The Ukraine war has had an effect on trade, and that affects our customers and obviously affects us as banks. You know, we've seen the crisis in the Middle East with Gaza now, coming up. We've seen the Red Sea, interruptions in trade, and that definitely has an impact. Macroeconomically, inflation was an issue in 2023, and demand for credit increased as a result of that. And so for the financial sector, when you look at the stability, you look at the ratios, the fundamentals, the capital adequacy, liquidity ratios, and all those fundamentals are solid. Definitely it would be the central bank to speak more, strongly about this, but as a player in the financial sector, we're seeing that growth, and we have not been left behind. After the merger of BPR and KCB in 2023, we've continued to see very healthy growth, and we have much higher expectations for 2024.
Well, that wraps up today's episode of The Business Age. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, you can interact with us on social media at The Business Age. You are with me, Naringwa Fiana Mothoni. It's until next time.